Tom Hickey? Have you got scans back? Do you know how long he might be?
Yeah, unfortunately, Tom's hurt his PCL, so he's probably 6 to 8 weeks, and Lance is probably 3 to 4. He's got some bone bruising, so it was just probably a 2-minute period just before three-quarter time. We lost both of them within probably 30 seconds.
Was that collision with Connor, I think it was?
Yeah. So obviously Tom did his in a ruck contest, which can be quite common for the PCL injuries, and Lance did his in that collision. Yeah.
I know in the past sometimes been hesitant with timelines for Lance for obvious reasons with soft tissue and whatnot. But is this a bit different? Are you pretty confident it'll be within that range?
Well, I mean, he reckons it'll be 2, so we've said 3 to 4. So that probably gives you an idea of where the discussions go. But we'll see how he goes. Yeah.
Was there a thought at three-quarter time to maybe take him off, or is it one of those ones that
off Lance?
Yeah, he couldn't make the worst play.
No, we didn't know what it was, and we don't have the benefit of having a scan during the course of the game. And he said he was feeling okay. Initially, it really hurt, and then the adrenaline and of what happens during the course of a game, it's very hard to diagnose during the course of a game. It was only yesterday. It got sore. So when you cool down a bit after you play, that's when with any real injury, that's what tends to happen most of the time. It's not until afterwards that you actually know that there's something there.
John, you had a reasonably clean-ish run with injury over the first sort of month of competition, and sort of catching up to you a little bit now.
Yeah, it's like happening to really good players too. So it's happening across the competition a little bit, I guess. There's it's that period where you're 4 or 5 weeks in and you've got some good players sidelined, and it gets back to that squad mentality to make sure that your players underneath and are in good enough form. Will Hayward was a great example on the weekend. His form's been really strong for a few weeks in our reserves, comes back in and plays really well. So the whole squad needs to be making sure they're in good form, so when the opportunity comes or you force your way in, that you're ready to go.
Are you happy then with some of your options to replace Tom and Lance this weekend?
Yeah, we think we've got some options there. I mean, we've got some experience there, some youth there. We haven't worked out who or what it looks like just yet, but we think we've got some options there. Yeah.
Hayden McLean's been in and out, depending on whether Lance has played earlier in the season. I think he kicked 3 in the VFL. He's a pretty obvious option.
Well, he's one that's certainly been able to play the role at senior level and reserves level, and still playing consistent brand footy. So that's a good start. We've got a few options there. So we'll work out what that looks like later in the week.
How is Lance? I suppose just mentally, or sort of climbed the mountain that he has to hit this little hurdle.
No, he's all right. We just had a chat to him. I mean, that's what happens in football. It's he comes back, and unfortunately, it was just a collision type injury that you can't do much about, and that's what happens. And hopefully, it's only a few weeks, and he gets back going again. So, you just got to roll with the punches a little bit. It's that's what happens in the game, and we need to make sure we just treat it as such. We get the next ones in and they do a job.
You must be quite confident the way the team's played, particularly this season, without the game against Richmond, an example that you do have the forward line the job done.
Yeah, we do. We've got Isaac that's been missing out of that group as well, but we get Will Hayward back in, and so that's just a team that if you want to sort of take the next step in your development, needs to be able to deal with injuries to key players, and sometimes it's a few key players, and it's just part of what AFL footy is. You need to make sure that you get through periods where you're going to have some key players out, some good players out, but understand that the role and form underneath is really important, because when you get the opportunity, you want to be able to take it with both hands and continue on and help us be competitive, and also help your case as far as playing AFL footy.
In your review of the weekend's game, how close did you look at those last 5 minutes? Does it feel like one that you probably should have won?
Oh, look, we look back, we look at the scoring shots, particularly in the last quarter. They probably had 12 scoring shots in the last quarter. That includes a couple out in the full. So they had a full head of steam in that last term. So really the last probably stoppage or two was probably a reflection of really what we thought of the game, that we were competitive at times, and then we just dropped away, and the Giants, to their credit, took advantage of those instances. So they're a good enough team to be able to do that, clearly. So just a reminder always that you need to be playing minute to minute, not only the last minute of the game, but everything in front of that as well. That's just as important as what happened in the last couple of minutes.
John, can you see yourself making any other changes this week aside from the ones that are forced? Like, are any of the younger boys just in need of a spell after a month of senior footy for first time, some of them?
We'll look at that. We'll consider that, and we'll weigh that up. And really, once again, we don't want to make a closed-end statement just yet, but that all comes into consideration. We understand the development of all players, and particularly younger players. It's not always onwards and upwards. It's you go through different stages in your development of players, and part of that is to understand and manage each individual player, not just throw them all into the one mix. Understand they're all a bit different, all different backgrounds, all different players, all different people.
James Rowbottom must be very close.
Yeah, look, he'll come back in. I mean, he's a good player. We felt he needed another run on the weekend, and he got through that pretty well. I think he's pulled up pretty good from that. So he's an important player for us. He puts some real pressure on the opposition, so we'll bring him back in.
Do you expect some of your depth players to be a little bit better than they have in the past this season, given the competition they're now playing in? It should be a high standard second-tier league.
They've only played the one game.
I know, but sort of over the next weeks and months.
I guess we're yet to unfold, really, isn't it? So we don't really know. We've played the Giants 5 times, I think, or 6 times so far. So 6 times, is it? Yeah, 6 times at the next level down. So we're not quite used to we don't have any idea what the competition's going to throw up just at this point. I think we assume that might happen, but we're yet to see it. We need to experience it. So we'll have to wait and see how it pans out.
Cal Sinclair, he seems like a pretty reasonable replacement for Tom Hickey, especially if Sam Reid needs to be down forward in Franklin's absence.
Well, he's one that can play in the ruck, absolutely. But we'll look at the team and what it looks like. It's just we need to make sure that everyone's got a role for what this week demands, and he's been playing a fair bit of footy, has played a fair bit of footy in the seniors for us, but we'll sort of still make that call when we sit down and work out what we need for this week.